Get out your pen and paper. Give me 1 second. Before I start, I want to show something. If I can find it in my vault. It's from a while ago. Yeah, found it. Okay. Here it's going to be crit haste or crit mastery, but you know, raidbolts.com. Just sim it, generally speaking. Talents. Like you can go Blade Masters. If I remember correctly from Sims, it was like 2% either way. Like 2% AoE or 2% single target or like 1.7%. So choose whichever one you want. This one is way more fun, Blade Master. And like I said, 2% AoE gain, but it's completely useless on single target. So I think this one's generally going to be better, Warlords. That's also generally the case, right? If you have two options, two choices, and you don't know which one, and one is AoE, one is single target, go for single target one, generally speaking. You can fuck around a little bit here too, but I think this is like the general plug and play build. We get 4% avoidance here now, and 10% stamina here. We are tanky as fuck. Rotation, single target. Keep your rend up, of course. And you send your cooldowns before Warbreaker. The Ravager before Warbreaker, Avatar, Roar, everything before Warbreaker. And then demolish inside Warbreaker. Oh, deep bug. So let me do this one time. Like whether you apply deep wounds or not doesn't really matter that much. I generally don't. So, what? Oh, he's evading. Fuck me, dude. Look at this one. Rand. You can Mortal Strike first, then Avatar Roar, Ravager, then Warbreaker. Then one Mortal Strike here. Get some stacks. That's 5 stacks. Demolish. And then it's Mortal Strike on cooldown. Overpower second prio. If you have nothing else, you slam. Like right now, a slam. Refresh Rand at 4 seconds or less remaining, as always, you know. With Mortal Strike on cooldown all the way through. I play EP, which I am right now. You just get 2 stacks of EP, consume it with Mortal Strike, right? Nothing weird there. Cleave on single target, you will press only if you have like some collateral damage stacks. Then you probably cleave over a slam, like one time to consume the stacks. And if you have MBG up, you can prio cleave over slam too. Unless you have martial prowess stacks. These buff Mortal Strike or Cleave, and on single target you want them to buff Mortal Strike, obviously. So you don't want Cleave to consume those, even in MBG window. But you can forget about that. Like, just don't Cleave on single target. Make it easy. If you want min-max, that's how you do it. Then. On AoE. It's pretty much the same. If you don't have stacks going into a pack, you're gonna build about 7-8 stacks-ish. But the opener is pretty much the same. You go in, turn the clap to apply rand. Then you can cleave while tank setting up the pool, get deep wounds going. Then Avatar, Roar, Ravager, Warbreaker. Same as on single target. So all the cooldowns before the Warbreaker. And then you want to demolish. But you do want stacks for demolish though on AoE. So generally what I do is I'll try to build as many stacks as I can before Warbreaker ends. Warbreaker is like the deadline. You want it inside Warbreaker. But not too long though. Because Demolish gives you 10% damage buff, right? So you want to get it out ASAP to also buff your other cooldowns. So generally what I do is I'll press it when Cleave and Mortal Strike stop resetting themselves. So let's see what that looks like. So Clap, Avatar, Roar, Ravager. And sweep Warbreaker. Cleave, Mortal Strike, Cleave. Okay, I have 10 stacks, good. Bang. But sometimes the Cleave and the Mortal Strike don't reset itself. And then you can only press them one time. And then I just fucking send Demolish. You know, I'm not gonna wait that long. Does that make sense? But you will still get like another stack or 2 from Unhinged. So like 7-8 stacks, maybe 10 if you're lucky. Like just send it. Then after your burst, you spam Cleaves, fill with Overpower. Keep rand up, of course, with Thunderclap. You also fill with Thunderclap, if you cannot press either of those. Depending on target count, you still press Mortal Strike or Cleave. So I think generally it's going to be like, if it's the same as before, 1-2 targets, Mortal Strike, 3 and up, Cleave. If you have Sweeping up, then it's up to 4 targets, Mortal Strike, 5 and up, Cleave. There might be actually 5 targets, I'm not sure. But that's how I play. Now, if you have MBG up, then you still spam Cleaves, of course, even on like 3 targets. So I was talking about Collateral Damage. It buffs Cleaves per stack, per ability you sweep with Sweeping Strikes. And Cleave contributes to it because Cleave slams your targets. Right? And this slam contributes to Collateral Damage. So pressing Cleave with Sweeping Strikes works. It helps you build collateral damage. And this is like a massive fucking hit. Like it hits even harder than Demolish sometimes, right? So one thing to take into account is that right when sweeping ends, you get this buff. So you can cancel sweeping with a cancel aura macro to get it early if you ever need it. You know, if a pack is dying, let's say a pack is dying in 3 seconds, but you still have 4 seconds of sweeping. Then you might cancel that sweeping to actually get that big collateral damage cleave up on the pack. Does that make sense? But yeah, like you don't need it though. Like it's kind of min-max. Like the buff is 30 seconds, so usually you have enough time to spend it on the next pack. If you press sweeping 8 seconds before you press, you do your opener, it will line up beautifully. You will have all your buffs for this big collateral damage with MBG window. And I actually have a clip where I do it, where I pull it off perfectly. This Auracraft first pull, and now you kind of have to predict when the tank is gonna plant 8 seconds from now, because that's when you start sweeping. And then when sweeping can start building stacks of Colossal Might. So one sec, let me just let it play. So I try to predict 8 seconds before the tank is gonna plant, right? If you want to min-max. So here I just clap a bit, apply some bleeds, cleave. And I press sweep right about now. There, I press sweep. So in 8 seconds, I need to bang. So now I collect some stacks. I press Mortal Strikes, right? Get some stacks going here. Then I clap, apply some bleeds, blah, blah, blah. And now here, you can see there's like 9 seconds remaining. So in 1 second, I need to start my opener. Right about now. Bang. Avatar Roar. Ravager. Warbreaker. I already have 7 stacks of Colossal Might. So I spam Cleave now because MBG is up. Cleave is buffed. Cleave, Cleave. I have 10 stacks of Demolish. I have 3 seconds left of Sweep. I have 3 seconds left of MBG. So this sweep will end exactly 1 global before this MBG. So I will get my collateral damage stacks with the MBG window if I'm very fast. So here I will demolish. And overpower buffs cleave, right? So the last 2 globals of sweeping, you want them to be overpowers, if possible. So the ideal thing for me to do right now is press demolish, get 2 overpowers off. That's exactly when sweeping drops. Get a big fucking cleave of within the last second of MBG. Demolish, overpower, overpower. Sweeping is now gone. I have 10 seconds of collateral. I have 1 second of MBG window. I have all my buffs up. I have Warbreaker. I have Avatar. I have 2 seconds of overpower. I have MBG. I have pot. So this next global is gonna hit like a fucking nuke. Bang. 68 million, you know? If you time it well, this hits like a fucking nuke, dude. Like, you see me shoot up on the damage meter, you know? That works if you can accurately predict 8 seconds before you bang, you know? But if you cannot, then you just sweeping right before the Warbreaker, and you're fine. But sometimes you can do this, though. Now, do you do this every time? No, because like you don't always get the opportunity to play it like this. But the only thing to take into account though is that the last 2 globals of sweeping strikes, try to have them be overpowers to buff this cleave that's coming, the big collateral damage cleave. And besides that, if the pack is dying and you cannot consume it in time, you can either cancel or sweep to get the buff early, or save the buff for the next pack, because collateral damage is 30 seconds. So it's almost always going to be enough to take it on to the next pack. Thank you very much for the primes, Asu. Thank you, dude. What macros do I use? The macros I use are mouse over Ravager. I got my trinket on my avatar. Cancel aura sweeping strikes. I think that's it. But collateral damage is something to be very mindful of. It's something I would track for sure. Track sweeping so you know when it's coming. And let's see what else. So let's say you have 3 seconds left of sweeping, you know? And you don't have cleave yet. Then you can also like overpower. But then you don't want to cleave, because then you would consume the cleave early. So then you can thunderclap. So you go like overpower, thunderclap to delay, big cleave. Does that make sense? Any other questions? I think that I covered most of it now, right? Single target opener, single target base rotation, basic talent build, AoE opener, AoE base rotation, a little bit of min-max. I think that's enough to get you started, right? Macros, yeah. I have a question, go ahead. This most of the lesson. It's in the vault, if you want to go into the vault. It's from like 10 minutes before now till now. Oh, one last thing I completely forgot. The most important thing, actually. And also the reason why most people hate playing arms is all cooldowns misalign. All your cooldowns misalign all the time, right? Avatar 90 seconds, Roars 45 seconds. 2 Roars does align with Avatar though. But Ravage is going to be all over the place because it's dynamic. Warbreaker is dynamic. But Warbreaker and Demolish, they kind of line up though. Generally speaking, they kind of line up. But this is what puts most people off. Like, it's super frustrating to play. But I can give you a couple pointers. Like, Warbreaker and Demolish, those are easy to line up and they will generally go together. Only if they're turbo desynced, like giga desynced, then maybe you might hold it one or the other to try and sync them up, usually on single target. But then on AoE, they generally line up. So try to keep those lined at least. The rest is like just send them on CD. Even if you have if you have to send a Roar solo or a Ravager solo, because Ravager also gives you a lot of stacks, right? So keep Demolish and Warbreaker lined, like 95% of the time. The rest is kind of just sent. It's like Demolish and Warbreaker will always be covered by an Avatar, generally speaking. Roar can be like kind of whatever. Will generally be with the Warbreaker as well. But what I generally do is before I go into a pack, just quickly look at your cooldowns, what's coming up, and make like a short like mini plan. Like, okay, I have this. I'm gonna line those up, send the rest later, you know? When you walk from pack to pack, make like a small plan. Like, this is how I'm gonna play next pack. But if you ever don't know what to do, you're not sure how you're gonna line up your shit, just send it. Literally, just press it. You're gonna be fine. More often than not, you're gonna be fine. Send Roar solo, Ravager solo, no problem. Until you get more experience, you get better at like lining your shit a little bit. But until then, send it on cooldown, you're gonna do big damage, 100%.